So the EHS is finally done. EHS Emergency Homeless Shelter. It's a little 5x8 converted cargo trailer. Runs 110 volts in, which will power a microwave and an air conditioner with shore power. There is a 250 watt solar panel up on the roof. And 200 amp hours of batteries in the trailer. We have a 5,000 BTU air conditioner mounted through the rear door. Wasn't my first choice, but what I had to work with on a little bitty trailer like this. We put a 15x18 window on the passenger side, which should allow for plenty of ventilation to come through. And I replaced the bar lock with a shed door handle, which was much easier to install than an RV latch. On the inside, I painted the original plywood on the inside and then added some different colored trim just to make it look a little bit nicer. The cabinets are 1/2-inch pine plywood, and the cabinets are set up to have storage, a television, and the microwave and refrigerator. The refrigerator is a 1.7 cubic foot refrigerator running off of the 200 amp hour batteries and a 500 watt modified sine wave inverter. Normally you would run a pure sine wave inverter, but for the refrigerator only, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. The open spaces at the foot of the bed are just places to stuff stuff in. The open space underneath the refrigerator is for his dog food and dog dish to go. Down on the bottom of the bed panel, I installed a fan and a switch. The fan draws air through and feeds it across the compartment where the batteries and the inverter are. The door to the cabinet needs to be open in order to access the underbed storage space. It's pretty tight quarters in this little bitty trailer. But on the foot end, there's plenty of room to store clothes, tools, whatever he needs to put in there. The center section has got the 2 batteries, the inverter, the fan draws through, and the little white spot that you see on the far side is a vent to the outside, which lets the warm air be exhausted from inside the compartment. The space at the head of the bed is also storage. And just for a little bit extra storage, we added a little cabinet up above. Don't know what he's going to put in there, but it was space, and I figured if there was space, we should make it usable. The refrigerator is reading right at 38 degrees, which is kind of where I keep the one in the house. And it's set on 2, excuse the finger there, because if we set it up any higher, this thing becomes a freezer. And, well, having Hot Pockets and popsicles is great. It doesn't do much for your water or your milk when you freeze it. The microwave is a 1.7 cubic foot microwave. There's enough room in there to reheat something, pop a bag of popcorn. Not much else. The TV is a 24-inch Element AC/DC television. It's being powered directly off the fuse block, running off the solar panels, through a cigarette lighter adapter that's hidden behind the panel the TV is mounted to. The 2 little Mickey Mouse ears above it are some cheap computer speakers that I got because they sound much better than the speakers that are in the television. I also mounted a cigarette lighter adapter USB port so that he can charge his phone, and if he's got anything that needs a cigarette lighter adapter, he's got one in here just in case. There's 2 cabin lights installed in the trailer, one just inside the door and the other one directly across from it, which is just above his head on the bed. The charge controller is an HQST 30 amp PWM controller with a 40 watt breaker between the controller and the solar panel. The shed door handle works really well. Like I said before, it's much easier to install than the RV latch. You simply pull the handle in, turn it down, slide the bolt in, to latch it. It's solid, secure, and pretty much foolproof. What you're looking at right there is a TV antenna. It works really well here in Oklahoma City. Hopefully it'll work for him down there where he lives in Louisiana. The panel is a 250 watt solar panel from Santan Solar. It's a pretty big panel for the roof, but not only does it produce power, but it also kind of helps shade the roof, maybe keep some of the heat out of there from those long hot summer days. I had to use the 2x3s to space the panel up high enough to get some air underneath it due to the curve of the roof of this trailer. I did attach the 2x3s directly to the roof joists with 2-inch self-tapping screws with lots of butyl tape, lots of Dicor. And I brought the wires down and came in the side because I just didn't want to put another hole in the roof. What you're looking at down there is the vent from the battery compartment underneath the bed. If you actually put a flame in front of it, you can see the flame being pushed away from the vent, so there's some pretty good airflow. That's our 110 volt power inlet. Here on the front of the trailer, we've got the spare tire mounted. It's up a little bit high, but I needed it up that high so that the tongue box could open. The tongue box is nothing more than an old ice chest that I repurposed into a tongue box. It was bright yellow. My wife said it was much too ugly to leave like that, so we painted it black. Put a latch on it so it can be locked. The latch isn't going to stop a determined thief, but it's going to slow down a lazy one. When we open it up, it opens towards the front of the tongue. The reason for that is, should he forget to latch it, the wind can't get under it and lift it up. You can see inside there, there's plenty of room for him to put his jack stands, his power cord, and because I sealed the bejesus out of the screws, he can actually use it as an ice chest in a pinch. Because the ice chest slash tongue box is mounted where it is, I had to change from a top crank jack to a front crank jack. And actually, I like the front crank jack much better. It's a much stronger jack. Here you see the air conditioner mounted to the door. The two pieces of angle go all the way across, and they are screwed in to the wooden frame of the door. This door was originally a ramp door, which was really kind of inconvenient for what I was trying to do with the trailer. I wanted to do a rear-facing galley, but those plans changed. I built the frame for this door, bought new, longer strap hinges so that they would give it a little more support and less chance of the door sagging, and then reused the interior trim around the door and the skin, the handle, and one bar lock. Here you can see the air conditioner riding out on the door. The door swings free, there's no problem, we have no sag. The air conditioner cord is run across and it kind of flexes and folds back into that corner. I had to notch the top of this shelf to let the air conditioner power cord go in without binding. Here you see the back of the refrigerator, and if you look right there, you'll see a block that is pushed in. There's screws through the bottom part of the refrigerator frame, and that block keeps the refrigerator from wanting to tilt forward. Up here we have the microwave, and you can see the angle brackets that are holding the microwave in place. Yes, there is a little bit of spaghetti back here, but what's a trailer without some spaghetti? That is what you're looking at is the cigarette lighter adapter that powers the television. The blue rope is actually a door stop to keep the door from opening too far and putting a strain on the cord. Not fancy, but it works. The whole idea behind this build was to give my brother-in-law a warm, safe, dry place for he and his dog to be while he's trying to find a place where the employment situation is better than the small town he lives in. The trailer gives him the opportunity to travel, whether it's 20 miles away or 1,000 miles away. It's his. He can take it wherever he goes. And yes, it's not exactly a Class A motorhome or even one of our conversions, but it will do what it needs to do, which is to keep him warm and dry and keep his personal stuff secured. The beauty of it was that about 90% of the stuff came out of my garage. We did have to buy the spare tire mount, which you can't see. And we bought the ice chest. That was a whopping $20 at a yard sale. And the black spray paint, well, there's tons of black spray paint in my garage. If you work on trailers, you know you got to paint tongues every once in a while. I did buy the crank jack. The solar panel came from a friend of mine. The cabling, the entry port, the vent, the 110 volt inlet, all came out of the garage. The air conditioner was a Facebook Marketplace purchase, and everything inside the trailer was left over from previous builds. I couldn't have done this without the support of all you guys, both picking your brains and just telling me to keep after it. And for that, I really appreciate it. We're going to hook this thing up to the truck tomorrow, drag it to Louisiana, get it plated, and give it to him. And hopefully this makes his life just a little bit better.